I know Joe through a very close friend of mine who also happens to be in the movie for like a half second.
That's right.
So Joe's going to take it away. He's going to show you the film, but talk about the film a little bit first.
Yay.
Thank you for coming.
We're a small crowd, but we're mighty.
There we go. That's what's important. So hi, I'm Joe. I am a filmmaker based out of Kansas City, and I was just going to kind of give you a little, real fast, who here is at least interested in like making movies? Anyone? A couple of you? Yeah? You? Ish? What's the ish about?
Well, I'm just interested in most mass media's kind of like approach radio, but movies do interest me a little bit.
Fair enough. Podcasts are pretty big these days. Been trying to break into that, but I can't seem to get off the couch to do it. So anyway, yeah. So making movies, I make movies on like kind of a $0 budget. This one that I'm about to show you was actually $33.60 because the only thing that we paid for was the McDonald's that I had to buy for the crew. And if you've ever bought like $33 for the McDonald's through a drive-thru, it's a very strange experience because they make you like sign for it, so they have to pass you a clipboard. Because I guess people like to steal credit cards and buy lots of McDonald's. Anyway, so yeah, most of the stuff that I did, I started making movies in high school and stuff, just kind of grabbing a camera and grabbing my friends and making them act in it and stuff. Then I won a small award, and my radio and TV teacher thought I was God's gift to everything, so she just kind of gave me copies of editing equipment and told me to take it home, put it on my home computer and all sorts of things. Let me take out cameras whenever I wanted to, and so that kind of started things off. And then when I went to college, I went to KU, and my parents said, as a graduation present, you can have a car or a camera. And I was an idiot and took the camera. It's okay, I bought a moped and got around that way for a little while. So in college, I obviously took a lot of film classes, but a lot of those film classes were more theory-based at the time rather than actual production-based. So I ended up having to get as many people as I could, much like in high school, my friends, kids who were in other film classes, got them all together and made them, hold the camera or act and things. What would make this big? Not used to PowerPoint. Okay. This guy? No. That one. Yeah. I did, it's alright. So this is me, it's my face. Show my head more here. It's also my business cards, so these are a couple of stills from a movie that I made in college. This guy, actually, this 6'9" man, was kind of my acting / writing / filmmaking partner in crime. And he and I made, I think, probably close to 15 or 20 short films together. And some of them, would like get small awards here and there, mostly local things. And it wasn't until this film that I'm about to show you guys, I found the 48-hour film project. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this or anything, but it's an awesome outlet for anyone who's trying to do something but doesn't necessarily have the time or resources to actually make a movie. You can always join up with another team, or what I like about it is being a starving artist, you kind of have to have a day job, and so having a day job really makes it difficult to actually make movies, because if anyone's ever made a movie or been on set for a movie or watched the behind the scenes, it takes a long time to make a movie, and it takes hours to set up shots and stuff. That's why they have trailers for actors, because no one wants to sit around like all my actors have to. But what's nice about the 48-hour film project is it forces you to make a short film in 2 days. You get criteria Friday night, and then Sunday night you turn in a finished product that includes the criteria. For our film, the criteria was we had to include a character named Donald or Deborah Gordon. They had to be a celebrity chef, so already they're making it pretty specific on us. And then they had to include the line of dialogue, "Let's take it from the top," and the prop of a necklace. And so that's what they give you, and then you take that and you say, all right, and you kind of take Friday night usually to try and write it out, and Saturday you film it, Sunday you leave it for editing and post-production, and then by the end of it, it might not be a good film, but you have a film, and that's kind of the most important thing, especially for budding filmmakers, is to just make stuff, just create it. Might not be great, maybe it wasn't a masterpiece, but you didn't do it right, you can always go back and remake it. So, I mean, I haven't done that yet, but there's a couple that I would like to. So I think I'll just, I'll go ahead and take it off to the film, so you guys can watch that. The audio one?
Yes.
Okay.
Listen, you've been with us a long time. There's no easy way to say this, but ever since the Paula Deen fiasco, we've just got to kind of clean house.
Are you guys filming this?
No. You're fired.
Oh. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, fine. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't think you guys any mind, right? You can have this shit back.
Oh, this gets very ugly.
Whoa!
I don't know what's going on. I already told you what it is. It's a camera. It's a floating freaking camera, and it's... No, it's not like a Goodfellas. I'm coming over.
What the hell are you doing, man?
I think we're capped. Oh, son of a bitch!
What is your deal, man? What's going on?
Do you not see the camera right there?
Of course I do. This is mine.
Not that one. That one's been in your house all day. I'm talking about this one. This one right now. Move! Right here. Do you not see the camera?
That's my fridge. What are you talking about?
I am talking about the magical floating camera that's been following me around since I lost my job.
Wait, you lost your job?
I think you're missing the point right here.
No, when did you lose your job? What happened?
No. Ratings and shit?
What are you talking about? You've been like the number 2 forever. You know, right behind Paula Deen, and she looks like she's on her way out.
What?
Listen, I want you to go see this psycho.
Yeah.
Let's take it from the top. Listen, I want you to see this psychiatrist friend of mine.
What the fuck was that?
This is me trying to help you. I want you to see somebody, get some help.
You see it?
I see that you need to talk.
You know what? Screw you, man. Screw you.
You need help. You can't see that?
Donald, Mr. Gordon, what are you doing?
I don't know. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my job.
Let's talk about your job for a minute. I believe that this paranoia that you're experiencing is in direct relation to you being fired from your job. I think that you've been in front of the cameras for years, and now you're mixing up your reality with reality TV. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to write you a prescription for a wonderful day. I think you need to take Carey and just enjoy yourself.
Can you not see this big black cock of a microphone in my face?
Sure, they can take it out in post.
I'm not even paying attention to you. You're not even here.
Who was that guy? That guy, he just ran off. Who was that?
You okay? Look like hell.
Yeah, no, it's been a weird day.
Oh, tell me about it. Let's go on a walk or something.
Yeah, can we go somewhere that's less, smothering?
Definitely. Come on.
I've just had the most weird day, and I
don't know, being with you, it just makes it all go away. I mean, it's pretty nice too, actually.
Do you remember when you bought me this necklace? Mine's me. Mine? Yeah. It reminds me of the first time we made love.
No, not you. Not you. What is wrong with everybody? Huh? Get away from me. Get away from me.
Great, Donald. Now you're bigger.
Well, you think my life is just a story? You can tear into whatever you want?
Freak out.
Huh? What do you want from me?
I want bigger.
I'm getting it big as I can get.
Beautiful.
You know what, fine. You want something beautiful? You want something beautiful, huh? How about this? How about I just jump? How about I jump?
Yes, do it.
That's right. Yeah, I'm gonna jump. Yeah. Good job, man. I hate my life!
And cut. Tail slayed. That is a wrap on the Donald Gordon story. All right. Well, good work, good work. Donald.
Sir, are a genius. I want you on my next shoot, all right?
I want to see all of your equipment back up and running.
See that mic on, buddy?
Where does this come from?
Usually, call me sometime, yeah?
Sorry that we kept the sex scene. Really.
Yeah, we had a guy mock up that logo. Pretty excited about it. So that was the film, and it's kind of an interesting story what happened from there. Because, well, first let me say that the film itself, when we were writing it, we were pitching different ideas around. We had a group of people. This is the first time that I was attempting to do a film without just scrounging some friends together. I actually, got crew. I had done a film maybe 2 months previous to this. It was a 48, but it was on a local scale. And I used it kind of as a sounding board to watch those films and see which people I might want to get on my team so that I can make one of my movies look good as opposed to just be a funny concept that was terrible. So then I got a team assembled, and we were just discussing what kind of movie we want to make. We were trying to write it out. I pitched this idea, and everyone on set was like, "We love it, but there's no way in hell you can do that in 48 hours." And so I was like, fair enough. And we put it back on the bookshelf, and then we just kind of left it. And we decided to do this other movie. And about 2 in the morning rolls around, and I had to kind of stop them and say, "Guys, we have a beginning and an end to a movie, but we don't have a middle at all. And on top of that, it feels like a sketch, not like an actual film, really. And so I re-pitched this idea to them, how we could do it in 48 hours using minimal locations and stuff like that. And they're like, all right, we'll give it a try. They're very apprehensive about it. And that final scene that you just saw where, he jumps off the ledge and he's there with the girl, we shot that first. And it was about noon on Saturday when we finally got rolling on that. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but we're standing on white cement. And white cement is very reflective. And so the sun was beating down. It was one of the hottest days in August at noon on white cement, just easily 107 degrees, just where we were. And I'm not sure if you noticed, the sound guy, who was the actual sound guy on the film that we used, the whole crew at the end, we didn't have necessarily all those lights for the scene. That was mostly set dressing, but there was our whole crew kind of running around at the end. But the sound guy has a sweat mark all the way down his back. And that was just from standing out there on that sun. We all got sunburns, except for our actor, who doesn't burn or sweat for that matter, which was really weird. Yeah, right? Yeah. Our actress was sweating, but he was, just fine, nothing wrong. And the guy who shot it, the director of photography, he was really excited, to do all this. And so he brought out his big rig for a tripod that's like got wheels on it, and it's easily 500 pounds or so. And we shot it all. That last scene, the way we did that wasn't just another guy for the stunt actor, that was the same actor. We just ran it, and then when we were all done doing our bit, we would have him run back over and jump off, and then we split screened it. And so he built this big rig up. We shot that scene. We took down the rig. We were reviewing the scene, and someone had bumped the camera, which meant that we would have the wrong perspective to do a split screen, so we couldn't do that. So instead, we just threw the camera on a terrible tripod that's much like that one. It's just books. And we just put it on there, and we reshot the whole thing. And so there was a lot of hiccups and bumps along the way that made everyone on set kind of think, are we actually going to finish this? And lo and behold, we did. And when it screened in Kansas City, it was up against, I think, about 30 other films, and it took first place, including Best Director, Audience Choice Award, Best Use of Line, I believe, and one or two other awards. But, so we won a bunch of awards, and we thought, that's awesome. And since we got first place, we were shown at a festival called Filmapalooza, where they play all the first place winners from around the world, because the 48 hours takes place in more than 120 different countries. Or not countries, cities. Probably like 20 countries. But still, it's from all over the world, and they play all the first place winners, and the top 10 or so then move on to Cannes Film Festival. And so I went there thinking, this will be just a fun experience. And it screened the night, we were in New Orleans for that year, and it screened the night after the big pub crawl, or the morning after the big pub crawl, so it was noon, and there was maybe a third of the audience of any other screening. And yet, we got probably a louder reaction than any other movie at any other screening, and so I was like, oh, they actually like it, that's neat. And then, we got our little glass award for winning first city, and then I went home. They announced the people going to Cannes, and we were not one of the 10, and so I was like, okay, that's fine. I wasn't expecting anything. And I went home, and about 2 months later, a month later, I was playing Candy Crush on my iPad, because that was a thing back then. I know. And I got a little Facebook notification that was one of those producers for the Kansas City Festival saying, congratulations, we just heard about Cannes. And I was like, we didn't win, so I don't know what you're congratulating us for. And then like something kind of like, my heart started beating a little bit faster. I checked my email, and sure enough, it said that the Cannes Film Festival is allowing them to screen 4 more films. So they're taking the top 14 as opposed to the top 10, and that ours was unanimously chosen to be one of those 4 films. And so that's when I pooped my pants. And so I saw that, and I started freaking out, and I go outside to call call the other guys on the team, to call the main actor and the editor, and neither of them answered, and so I just kind of like left a voicemail. And when I got back inside, my girlfriend had already started a online campaign to raise money to send me them, because I'm also broke, or I was broke. And so that went awesome. We actually raised about $4 grand, and that covered plane tickets and lodging out there. So I actually got to attend the Cannes Film Festival, and our film was screened out there along with the other 13 in a big special screening. And it's actually interesting when you go out to Cannes. Hold on, I think no, you saw that. Oh, this is during the filming. That's the poster for the movie. That's us recording the voices at the end. But then, yeah, so this is Cannes. I snuck up to the press room when I wasn't supposed to. Had some fun. That was interesting. But yeah, so we went out there, and this is members of the team that made it out there along the beach after our screening. Had a bottle of champagne out there, and it's interesting when you go out to Cannes Film Festival. They have the main films screened, the main feature-length films, and then even also the main short films. They're screening. There's about 4 or 5 each of those. Those are the ones that are in competition to win best film ever thing. And then there's a short film corner. The short film corner is where they accept somewhere around maybe 1,000 films, and you go there, and it's always buzzing around with people who either made films or are looking to watch them. And they have these little booths, and you can sit in the booth, and you can just go scroll through the library and watch any of these films. Or they can set up screenings. They have these screener rooms that seat 4 to 20 people, and you can reserve those for your film and then go promote it out at the festival and come and watch a film. We, since we were part of this, actually got our own full screening, which was pretty amazing. It was in a big theater as opposed to just like a small screener room. And there was a lot of people there to see it, and it's just one of those moments in your life where you're like, wow, I did something right, and I don't know what it was. So that was pretty amazing. Also, the cast of Expendables 3 came up on campus, which I thought was pretty awesome. It's kind of just a big whirlwind. There's more tuxedos than you'll ever see in your life out there. Everyone's dressed in ball gowns because they all want to walk the red carpet. And then randomly we'll run into a tank full of action stars that are past their prime. And so that was interesting. I also got to meet Alfonso Cuarón, which was really crazy. That's the director of Gravity and Children of Men. You guys ever seen that? Really good flick. But that I got to talk with him briefly as he was entering his screening, because you could go in the front door where everyone went in, or you could sneak in the artist entrance, because I had a badge which allowed me to do that, and that's where like everyone actually would go in, and that's when you go through like the dark alleyway into the building, but that's where all those big stars would enter and exit. Then I also met these guys. I actually met them when I was at Filmpalooza in New Orleans. Yeah, we all had our pants off. It was weird. But these guys, they're 2 Dutch filmmakers who made an amazing film, and for their 48, and it was not accepted. It was not one of the top 14. However, they just submitted it to the Cannes Film Festival anyway, and it got picked up. So But while I was out there, I actually hung out with these guys quite a bit more, and I grew a connection. And what that's allowed me to do is twice now, once 2 weeks ago when I just made another film, I have contacted them off the cuff and just said, hey, can you guys film a quick scene there in Amsterdam or wherever they live? And then they just send it over to us via Google Drive or anything like that. And you can actually, within 48 hours, within a time competition, you can get footage from halfway around the world to include in your film. And I think it's just the idea that the merging of technology and filmmaking, which has always been kind of a very almost personal thing because you have to be there to make the art. Now you get guys like these. Also, when I was out in Cannes, I met up with a couple other teams. This is the next film that I did. We actually sent someone, or we knew someone who was out in Asheville, North Carolina, and we had them pick up the criteria for our team. So we entered it into the Asheville 48 hour. They picked up our criteria, immediately called us on the phone, told us what it was. I was on Skype with a team from Amsterdam and a team from Poland. And we all kind of collaborated. We just talked around an idea. There's a little bit of a language barrier that was kind of difficult to work with at first, but we all kind of settled on an idea. And we shot the beginning and end of the film. They shot the middle, or the middle first half, and they shot the middle second half. And then they each edited their little bit, sent it off to us. We compiled it all into one solid movie. So we actually had a 7-minute film made in 2 days that spanned 3 different continents, which was pretty cool. And so doing the 48, making a movie in a weekend was awesome. Winning, first place for Kansas City was even more awesome. And going out to Filmpalooza in Cannes was exceptionally awesome. The best thing that's happened is I've got these connections now with people who are like-minded, who want to make film and videos, and they're willing to join in and help out whatever I need to. And I'm willing to help out them if they ever ask. Can't remember what else it was. Oh, these are the 2 films that I made with the Polish team and the Netherlands team. That's yes. So this was our portion. That was Netherlands. That was Poland. It's about a guy who gets on a weird machine that zaps his brain at first into a prostitute's body and then into a hamster's body. And then these are a couple other films. I've been doing films ever since, and my team has kind of jumped on board, and they are more gung-ho than ever with each film that we make. They want to just make more films. They want to do these time film festivals, but they also want to make shorts outside of that. This one was the one I did for the 48 year after that. I got second place, which is a travesty, but I thoroughly enjoyed that. It's about, it's a post-apocalyptic movie. Instead of zombies, it's mummies, however, and it's just about 2 guys who kind of thought the apocalypse would be a bit more exciting than it was. So we're just going to talk about that. And then this is the one that I just made about 2 weeks ago, Normal Life. It was for the Colchester International 60-Hour Film Festival. And that is a fun little short. Once again, I got the guys from the 2 Pantsless menu seen earlier. They filmed the beginning and narrated our film. And so they just filmed the beginning and then they recorded the lines and we plugged it in where the lines needed to go. And it's about a same-sex Dutch couple that adopted a child, and the child wants to know where they came from originally. And so they tell this big, fairy tale about where they came from, which is a land called America. And then we see what actually happened, and it was just kind of a drunken hookup at a bar, and the 2 people are just terrible people, and eventually, what's they actually have the kid, they realize that they're terrible people and can't raise it, so they. But it's kind of this fun juxtaposition because everything that he's narrating is very similar. It loosely mirrors the actual story, but then the actual story is so much worse than how it ends. And then I got my website, joecarreyrocks.com. Check it out. You can see most of the films up there. Or if you go to Beached Whale Productions on Vimeo, you can also check out all of our better films, I would say. Joe Carey Rocks is more of a full compilation. This one is more just the more recent ones, where ever since I got a crew, basically. But yeah, also when you're looking that up on Vimeo, be careful because the first video that shows up, you want to go to the channel. The first video is a well-endowed woman, I think is a woman going like this, and you don't want to look at that. So check out the page. But yeah, so that's kind of all I was going to talk about. I was going to just go ahead and give it up for questions. If anyone has. That's my life in a nutshell. What I wanted to take away though, especially for you and anyone else who's interested in making movies, is these days it's really simple because we all have computers in our pocket that have 4K cameras now and stuff. That all you have to do is just kind of have an idea of what you want to do and hit record and film someone, and then you can get editing programs are free nowadays. They've got iMovies on just about every Mac computer. They're really simple ways to learn and just make stuff, because that's what got me to the point where I am now. Since I went to the Cannes Film Festival, I've been able to put that on my resume, which apparently looks really good because I got a job that pays well now, and it's solely based on the fact that I put that on there. But yeah, just make movies because, I mean, it's easy to nowadays, and you never know when something you make is going to go viral or something, and then next thing you know, there's a studio knocking on your door and it's like, hey, we want you to make a movie for us. So I've also started a feature-length film since this happened, which was neat. And yeah, made about 10 more films since. Anyway.
So where do you see yourself going?
Well, that's a great question. We, as a team, the Beached Whale Productions team, I'm finally kind of getting like, the team is really kind of coming together and gung-ho. Before it was always kind of me just being like, hey, we're going to do this, and now they're coming at me saying, we want to do this. The movie I was telling you guys about, the post-apocalyptic one, this one, we're discussing turning that into a web series. And we're also actually discussing just writing a couple episodes and trying to sell it to Amazon. Because right now, streaming is the biggest thing in the world. And Amazon and Netflix and Hulu are just grabbing up any good idea they can find. And so if you have a halfway decent idea, you can just write 2 episodes and then an idea of where you want it to go. You can submit it to them. And Amazon does kind of a flat fee thing where if they like it and they want it, they'll pay you $50,000. And then if they're not sure if they want it after 2 months, then they will pay you $15,000 just to hold on to it for another 2 months. And then if they still don't want it, then they'll pay you another $15,000. Or if they're still not sure, they'll pay you another $15,000. And then after that, they will either have to buy it for $50,000 or leave it at that. So radio, I mean, if you consider writing stuff, writing is a great thing, and right now streaming content is kind of nuts. And so with this one, immediate future, we're recutting that because we had to have it under 5 minutes, but we wanted a 7-minute cut. And that one we're going to be submitting to several different film festivals, including Slam Dance and Sundance. And then also we're going to submit it to Cannes because, as it turns out, to submit a short film to Cannes is $90, which isn't that bad. Plus, if they decide not to take it, they give you your $90 back. So there's literally nothing to lose in that situation. Just, maybe a little bit of pride if they say no, but then everyone's sitting. Yeah?
What editing programs could you recommend for students just starting out besides?
Students just starting out, I would suggest, well, there's iMovie, but if you're just starting out, I started out, well, first kind of weird on the old admin days, but then I got a copy of Final Cut Express. And Final Cut Express was great. I moved from that just full-on Final Cut Pro. And I used Final Cut Pro up until the newest version, which is actually kind of dulled down a little bit, which is actually awesome for people who are just starting out. But then for someone who had been using it for a while, it was a little bit jarring because suddenly it was a lot different. But ever since I got that neat paying job that I have, that I wheedled my way into, I've been using Adobe Premiere. And Premiere is really good. It lets you do just about anything you want to do. But the problem is that you have to know what you want to do. And so I would suggest Final Cut Pro X for beginners, and then Premiere for beyond that.
The movie we saw, don't ask the director, right?
I know, right?
So the camera was switching perspectives so often, and the actor was missing the beat.
Yeah.
So tell us how you did that, and also how did you get that kind of
I wish that was actually Zach Galifianakis, but it was not. Unfortunately, it was just another heavy-set bearded man. They're diamond dozen. Basically, with the first question, though, how do we get the angles, since we're switching back and forth? Consistent takes from the actors, and then clever editing from the editor. We wrote out most of the scenes. The idea was an idea I had years ago, and I wrote maybe a page and a half before I was just like, it's too difficult to do. And so then I just kind of put it on the back burner of my brain. So when we wrote it out, I knew exactly what the beats were going to be and what the scenes and scene changes were going to be. There's only one scene that I had originally written in my head that didn't end up making it in there. That's a scene of him driving, but 48 hours doing a car rig and everything would just be a bit difficult. So when we had all the beats written, we tried to write as much as we could with the lines, but we also wanted to let the actors be able to improvise a bit. And so those two guys are actually pretty good friends. So it works really well, just kind of they bouncy, improvised lines off each other, and then when they knew that the joke was going to stick, they kind of kept that. And we shot it several different ways, and a couple times they improvised it differently, but those ended up on the editing room floor. Our editor found the best takes, and then doing just about the same thing with just about as much. I mean, there was definitely a lot of kind of blocking as far as where the camera was going to be and which lines were the cuts on. Like, we knew where the editing was happening while we were filming, which helped. But yeah, for the most part, it was just consistent takes on the improvisers or the actors. Any other questions?
You said you, as a producer, you would grab your friend and just like, hey, you're now acting. Would somebody be able to do the reverse of acting? Say an actor be able to grab, like, if somebody say, hey, you do any impression work or?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, well, especially when you're starting out, the biggest difference between the roles are who can be there in that moment for that role. In the earlier films that I did, I would act, direct, write. If I wasn't on screen, I would hold the camera. If I was on screen, sometimes I would still hold the camera. I mean, it was, back then, it was just anything that anyone could do. And we didn't really know, the intricacies of it. Like, you don't have to have a giant soundboard with 4 or 5 imports to bring in good sound. All you have to do is just make sure you can hear the person. Like maybe throw some headphones in, they sound right, great, you know, and maybe get some extra root tone afterwards, and you just lay that over the whole thing, and then it just sounds even the whole way through. The most important thing is just doing. Like I said, everyone has a phone. They can all just record themselves. And I've got several films that, like I said, I would like to remake because the story was there, but it doesn't look great. The camera that I got from my parents, instead of getting the car, was a beautiful DVX 100B camera shot on a mini DV tape. It was amazing until about 2 months later when HD cameras came out, and suddenly everything else looked better than mine because it was all shooting in HD. That being said, I kept shooting with that same camera that I had for 3, 4, 5 plus years, and yeah, all my films didn't look as good as some of the other films, but the stories were better, and there was other elements that were better, and I found that as long as you have a story to tell, people are they're gonna draw more towards that than they are someone who can make something look pretty. And so that's one thing that's the big thing that I would take away. Just make a movie, come up with a good story, and make a movie. You want to make sure that people can hear what you're saying, because that will draw anything out more than anything else. So make sure you have good audio. You want to do good lighting, but that's you know, up to the gods. And I mean, you can get anything on Amazon these days for $30. So you can get a cheap lighting kit on Amazon. You can buy work lights from Home Depot. You can get stuff like that. There's always ways to do things on the cheap. And all of the people that have worked on all these films started doing things on the cheap first, and then they just gradually built up and built up. And that's how I was. I started on the cheap, built up. People saw the ideas and were like, I like your ideas. I can make good movies, but I don't have good ideas. You make shitty movies, but the ideas are great. And so then we team up, and suddenly you have an awesome movie that looks awesome. And that's just how it is. It's just make things. And as long as you're making things, people are going to take notice. And then once people take notice, they're going to want to jump on board. And once you have people jumping on board, that's all the work. That's literally all the work. And it's just fun from there on out. So if you were asking, can an actor pull in friends? Yes. Because I started out just doing high school acting. Anything else?
Did you want to give Joe a big round